Hey everyone, I am back with a video that's a little different today. I want to talk about our relationship with the Lord, specifically our communication with Him. I want to talk about getting beyond just like saying a prayer, going through repeated phrases, but actually getting to an open, honest, real, raw level of communication with Him. And the reason I wanted to make a video about that is because if you're following me just because of the food stuff I talk about, the emotional eating, that whole health side, this applies to that, but it also applies to our finances and our marriages and our parenting and our stress at work, every area of our lives that we want to surrender to Him. If that communication lane isn't wide open and real and honest, if it has roadblocks and walls in the way, He's not going to be able to transform the way that He needs to because we're blocked. And the reason I wanted to talk about too is because sometimes we don't know we're blocked. We think, no, I have a pretty good relationship, I think. But let's talk about some specifics and what it looks like to get very raw and very real, very vulnerable, very authentic, where we are saying where we're at, where we are receiving His counsel back. And it is a back and forth where it is no longer just going through a repeated prayer, but it's talking to a person, a relationship with a person. Now, you may already be there, but let me just offer a few ideas. This comes today from a book I've been reading that just was so good, so good. It's by author Tyler Staton, I think. And I'll put it in the link below, or the link to it below, so you can look it up if you want. It's called Praying Like, oh gosh, now I forgot. Praying Like Monks, Living Like Fools. Isn't that crazy title? I love it. Praying like monks, living like fools. He gives, and I got to look at my notes. He gives, what I loved about his section on this is he gave 4 reasons that we're often scared to pray. And I'm not talking say a prayer. Through this whole video, I'm not talking scared. We may like bow our head and just cite a quick prayer. I'm not talking about that, where we're scared to get real with Him. 4 reasons why we may be scared to do that. And then he talks about 4 reasons that we should. And I want to go over them with you just really quick. Hopefully some of them will maybe ring a bell, and like they did with me, and make you go, wait a second, I want to get more real with Him than I ever have. I want this in my life. The first one, as we talk about real, authentic, open prayer or communication, is the fear of being naive, he says. The fear of being naive. To pray is to risk being naive, to risk believing, to risk playing the fool. To pray is to risk trusting someone who might let you down. To pray is to get our hopes up, and we've learned to avoid that. So we avoid prayer. Again, maybe just the real raw type of prayer, right? We may not avoid prayer. We may be going through the motions of it so that we can say that we did, that we're a good Christian, and that we love God, and I said my prayers today. But we may avoid getting very real with Him because suddenly that opens it up to risk. We're going to be letting our raw feelings out. And what if I risk playing the fool, like he said? That can be very scary. I think the other thing that this can be a fear is if we have a history of unanswered prayer. And we don't understand what happened with a prayer that He didn't answer, and we're not sure what that means. And up a wall goes, because we're like, I don't want to really get hurt like that again. I'm not sure why He didn't answer that. It hurt me. And so the wall comes up. And again, we may have relationship with Him in this other space, but there was a wall there about really asking Him again because of the risk, and He hurt me, and I wasn't sure why He let that person die when I prayed. I wasn't sure when He let us lose our job when I begged Him. You see the risk? And these are all going to kind of build on each other as we keep going. So that's one to just think about. The next one is the fear of the possibility of silence. Have you ever thought about that? If I let myself down, because see, when I just kneel down and just say a quick prayer, and then get up off my knees or whatever and just go about my day, I haven't even let Him have a chance to answer, right? So if I'm actually sitting in a posture where I am trying to speak to Him and let Him speak back, what if He doesn't talk? What if I don't know how His voice even sounds? What if I hear Him wrong? That silence can be scary if I have been vulnerable and I don't hear anything back. I've actually talked to several people in coaching about that, where they're like, you say to talk to him, but I don't know that I don't hear anything. It's a learning process. And so it takes risking stepping into that vulnerable place where, wait a second, what if it doesn't work like I thought? He says it means moving to a place where we've had this relationship where we've mastered talking about, singing about, reading about, learning about him, but it means risking real interaction with that God. What if it's awkward or disappointing or boring? Or what if God stands me up altogether? When we've got that much to lose, the prayer might be scarier than actually avoiding that never being alone with him, because what if he doesn't say anything? And then I'm in a spiral and say, well, I knew it. He doesn't. See, we can just get into a really difficult place. So we may put a wall up and go, I'll say a quick prayer, but I'm not going to sit there and wait for him to talk because I'm not even sure how that works. This can go deep. And a lot of times it can build on our past experience with him in prayer. Third thing, he says, another fear that can block us is the fear of selfish motives as we pray. Let me read you the quote. Tyler says, we evaluate and second guess the words we speak as soon as they come out of our mouths. Why do I really want this? What's behind this request? Have I really put in enough time with him to ask for something like this? Or am I just texting him when I need something? Is this desire really pure enough to bring before God? We know all too well the motives swirling inside of us. When we pray, we become increasingly aware of those motives. And sometimes we're paralyzed by the self-evaluation. Like, am I asking for the right thing? Is he going to approve of that? This was really, really a big one for me because I am coming out of a history of people pleasing. So bad. So bad. And so I people please other people, like, don't get mad at me. Am I okay? And so of course I did that with God too. Like, I would only ask for things that I feel like are suitable, or that he wouldn't get upset with me for asking too much, or is it proper? And I would get in my head about it. And I would obsess and overthink my prayers instead of just talking to him about what's on my mind. I was very afraid. Maybe it wasn't a selfish motive, but I just didn't want to anger him. I didn't want to ask for something that wasn't pure. And so that really got in the way, you guys, really got in the way of raw, real communication. Like we're talking today. Raw, real communication is just being there saying, this is where I'm at today. You can help me, Lord, if it's pure or if it's selfish, let's talk about it. I'm not sure. But not risking not even talking to him because I'm not sure if what I'm praying is good enough. Okay, the last one is fear of doing it wrong. Fear of doing it wrong, which is hard if you are in a religious community and you hear a lot of people pray often. There are people that are very beautiful in their language. My husband is absolutely breathtaking at times in the way he speaks to God. I just love the way he prays. And sometimes I feel very inadequate. Like, yeah, I'm not like that. But the fear of doing it wrong, if it stops us, if it becomes, again, a wall where we're like, I can say a little quick prayer, but now we're getting into raw, real, open communication. What does that look like? What if I do it wrong? What if I say it wrong? I'm not all eloquent. What are you supposed to do? And then we overthink it so much that we don't even get there with him. We just miss that beautiful opportunity. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? I would suggest those aren't the only 4. As I began to ask him, okay, what are the roadblocks keeping me from full relationship with you? Full, like, communication. He began to show me my own personalized, the people pleasing was one. You people please me, Jay-Z. You people please me. I was like, okay, I'm not sure how to stop. But yeah, I do. So having that open communication where he even teaches you what your fears are, that's even a possibility. But I don't want this video to be too long. So getting in the mindset where we're thinking about what our fears are in being raw and real, why those fears are there, where they're coming from, and then how he can help us get past them. Listen to Tyler's 4 reasons for why we should move in this direction of raw, real, open communication with him. Number 1, he says, pray because you're overwhelmed. Life is complicated. We are in the end times, the last days, and it is a mess right now. Our lives are difficult. Maybe you don't feel overwhelmed, but I think the majority of us are. I talk to people every day in the clinic where I work. all kinds of different people, and life is heavy. Pray because you're overwhelmed, he says. Constantly overwhelmed lives should drive us to prayer at its purest and rawest. Just that blatant need. I'm just sinking. If you've seen The Chosen, the end of season 3 when Peter's trying to walk on the water, and you have to go watch it. It's the last episode of season 3. It's the finale. Go watch The Chosen season 3. But he grabs the Lord and just starts begging him, don't let go. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. Raw, real, because I'm overwhelmed. I'm sinking. And I can't just say a nice prayer. That's not enough. Just saying a prayer, just saying some memorized thing and then getting off my knees. That's not enough for the overwhelm that I'm experiencing. I need more, and I need to pour it out to you. And I need these walls removed so I can be very real. I am struggling. Let me pour it all out. Now that idea ties into what he says in the next few. He says, pray because trust comes before faith. But let me explain. This was a cool idea to me. He said, oftentimes when we try to trust him, we base it off of our circumstances of our lives. But our circumstances can be very confusing. Why are you letting that happen? I don't understand what we're going through. I don't understand what's happening in my life. And then we begin to distrust his character. Like, I'm not sure if you are good. Sure. Because look what's happening in my life. And he says, don't look at the circumstances. Base it off what the scriptures say about his character. We know rock solid his character is good from the word, from the scriptures, that he will not fail us or forsake us. There's over and over and over. I've come that you're going to have life more abundant. Promise after promise that he has made in the scriptures. When our life doesn't line up, that's when we shy away from prayer because we're like, I don't know if I can trust you. Look what's happening and you're not changing it. But he says you base your trust on his character as outlined in scripture. Circumstances, you can say, I don't understand what this is, but I can anchor myself in your character. Listen to how he phrases this. With trust, he said, we can come to the God whose character doesn't seem to match his silence, saying with brutal honesty, where were you? How could you? What were you thinking? When we're in that area of trust with him, we can come trusting his character and ask the honest questions that we want to ask. Sorry, I'm trying so hard not to get emotional because this has been very real for me over the last couple of years. Where were you? How could you? What were you thinking? Just like he says in that book. I would never pray like that in my earlier years. I didn't think, no, I'm faithful. I'm supposed to be a faith girl. So no, you must have your reasons. You must. And it's fine. It's fine. When my heart was screaming that it wasn't fine. And it took me a while to let that wall down and begin to really just voice what I was thinking and feeling with him so he could tend to it, not shove it down and say, no, faith means it's good. It's being raw and real, like the title of this video. And that leads right into the next one, which again, took me forever to learn this, you guys. Pray because complaints are welcome, he says. Pray because complaints are welcome. That was not my reality in talking to God ever, for decades. I people pleased him. I wasn't going to complain to him about how he was showing up or answering prayers or anything. I wasn't going to complain because that's not a faith girl. That's not a good, I was like, okay, it must be okay. Complaints are welcome. And you know how Tyler backs it up? He goes into the Psalms. And you can read the book I'm not going to quote them all here, but psalm after psalm after psalm, verse after verse of the psalmist complaining. Where were you? Where are you? I don't understand. Just raw voicing of what's going on in there. Making him your best friend that you trust, that you can vent with. I made him this untouchable God that I was like, I had to be proper and I couldn't be. But then there was no power in my prayers. There was no power because I didn't feel like I could tell him how I really felt. Have you ever done that? Oh man, I think what I'll do is include some books in the links below that really help me get past that. So if that's something you resonate with, I'll put a little section in the description box about that. But wow. C.S. Lewis says, he quotes C.S. Lewis, we must lay before him what is in us, not what ought to be in us, not what we think ought to be in us, and pray like that. It's what's really there. The real, honest, inside fears, complaints, all of it. We lay it out there. That's raw and real communication with him. He's a big boy. He can handle it. And the funny thing is, it reminds me of Adam and Eve's story, where they cover themselves with fig leaves and then they run into the trees, right? Because, oh, I put up my walls with him because I have these fears, or I have these things that I don't understand. So I put up walls. Just like Adam and Eve, he knew where they were. He saw them. He wasn't like, oh, where are they? He knew right where they were, in the trees and behind the fig leaves. So putting up my walls does nothing but hurt me. He sees what's underneath it. He sees all the stuff I'm trying to maybe hide. The complaints are there. He knows they're there. And at times with me, he's even prodded me in situations until they come pouring out. All right, I'll vent. Because I wouldn't do it. And he's like, you feel something different than that. That's not how you really feel. You're praying proper with me, and stop it. That was a shift for me, you guys. That was a shift. The last thing, I loved how he says this last thing. Pray, because the only way to get it wrong is by trying to get it right. Trying too hard, overthinking it. That's where we spiral into this place where our prayers are disjointed. They're not connecting with him. They feel like they're hitting the ceiling. And we're not really developing deep relationship of trust where he begins to transform us, where we can really surrender. Listen to how he says it. Talk to God like a friend. You vent, you ask, you laugh, you listen, you unload, you just talk. Don't try to sound more holy or pure or spiritual than you are. Prayer isn't a noble monologue. It's a free-flowing conversation. And the only way to get prayer wrong is to get it right. That book is wonderful. The link will be below. There's a lot we could unpack here. I won't make this a longer video, but can you see how the whole point of my channel is going to him to let him revolutionize you in whatever area. I do a lot with health, but this applies to everything. But if there's all kinds of walls in the way in our communication, we won't get there. We won't see the changes. And then you're like, no, faith-based approach doesn't work. I haven't been transformed. But it was really the stuff that needed to be cleared out of the way so we could get that channel wide open. For me, the key element that changed this was rooting my communication in an understanding that I was loved by him. And guys, I had to move a lot of baggage out of the way to actually feel that love. There were a lot of things blocking my ability to feel it. And now that I'm talking about that, that may be I actually think it will be a video in the next few weeks. Because sometimes life gives you all this evidence that says he can't love me. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at me, he doesn't love me. And if that is happening, this process is dead in the water. If we can't be rooted in his love, a daily awareness of his love. I do a lot with this in my Satisfied class. A lot, actually. And I'll put that link below. But rooting in knowing not just our love for him, but his love for us, then I can vent and listen and laugh and unload, like Tyler said. Then I can be my real self and not people please with him, or not be nervous with, am I saying it wrong or doing it wrong or asking for the wrong things? I'm just able to be myself and take in what he needs to teach me to begin to change. That will change everything. So hopefully we'll do a video on that soon. Not sure when, but I hope that's helpful. I hope it, if nothing else, got you thinking about your own communication with him and what it looks like and maybe where it needs to go. Maybe be prayerful about it. Just that. Like, what do I need to do in this area to open it wide up so that it is raw, it is real, and finally it's going to begin to make progress in your life where his relationship begins to bless you in ways you can't even begin to imagine. Thanks again, guys. Have a great week. See you next time.